Today we are going to discuss about workplace hazards and control strategies. I'm your host Javed and you are watching Safety First. If you are new on this channel, kindly subscribe the channel. And if you find the video informative, then like, comment and share. Let us discuss what are the general construction activities. The construction activities are site surveying, clearing land, demolition, including using explosives, excavation, tunneling, groundwork, and digging, laying of pipes and concrete, scaffolding, tower systems and access equipment, manual handling of bricks, timber, steel, concrete blocks and materials, working at heights, working below the ground, working in confined spaces, working with hand tools, driving and using of heavy machinery, plants and equipment, maintenance work and repair, hot work, burning, plumbing, cutting, welding, working over deep water, working with substances, painting, sealing, treating asbestos, or office and administration. These are the few examples of construction activities. Now we will see the journey construction hazards. It might be falls from working at height, crush injuries in excavation work, slips and trips, being struck by falling objects, moving heavy loads, bad working positions, often in confined spaces, being struck or crushed by a workplace vehicle, receiving injuries from hand tools, inhalation of dust, electrocution, handling of rough materials, exposure to dangerous substances like chemicals and biological, working near, in, or over water, exposure to radiations, noise, and vibration from tools or vibrating machine. These are the few examples of construction hazards. We already discussed the construction activities. We already discussed about the construction hazards. But today I'm trying to let you understand the simple definition of hazard. Anything, a condition with the potential to cause harm is hazard. Another definition, the potential of a substance, person, activity, or process to cause harm, injury, or illness. Another example, a hazard is anything, material, substance, machines, methods, or matters in the workplace that has the potential to cause harm. You can easily understand the meaning of hazard or the concept of hazard by these easy definitions of hazard. Dear friends and fellows, now we will categorize the hazards with respect to safety, health, and environment. In safety, hazard means anything or condition that can cause physical injury. In terms of health, hazard means any infective agent, substance, situation, or condition that directly attacks the body tissues, causing occupational illness. With respect to environment, hazard means any pollution, waste, including noise in any form or quantity that impairs the quality of the working environment, such as dust, smoke, gases, radioactivity, or any type of odor. So, in safety, hazard means physical injury. In health, hazard mean infective agent, and in environment, hazard mean any type of pollution or waste. So these are the categories of hazards with respect to health, safety, and environment. Dear friends and fellows, There are two main classes: natural or man-made. Natural class is also known as geological class, a threat of a naturally occurring event that will have a negative effect on people or the environment, like flood, lightning, wildfires, earthquake, soil erosion, high winds, hurricanes, volcanic eruption, sinkholes, tsunami, drought, famine, heat waves, or climate change. These are the examples of natural or geological hazards. While the man-made are sociological threats having an element of human intent, negligence, or error are involving a failure of a human-made system. It results in huge loss of life and property. It further affects a person's mental, physical, and social well-being, like fire, flood, crime, arson, civil disorder, terrorism, or war. These all are the examples of sociological or man-made hazards. The other classes of hazards like technology, a hazard originating from technological or industrial conditions, including accidents, dangerous procedures, infrastructure failures, or specific human activities that may cause loss of life, injury, illness, or other health impact, property damage, loss of livelihoods and services, social and economic disruption, or environmental damage, structural collapse, communication fallouts, transportation and electrical fallouts, explosions and nuclear fallouts, and CBRN warfare means chemical, biological, radiation, and nuclear warfare or threat of terror against a nation, mass destruction, industrial pollution, and fires. These all are the examples of technological hazards. Another class of hazard is behavioral. This is a reaction by a person subjected to specific conditions of work and materials which result in physical harm, health, and injury. How people behave at work can create hazardous conditions. For example, irresponsible behavior, horseplay, pranks, etc., leaving objects in pathways that causes obstruction and tripping, running and rushing to different points about the workplace, using hazardous substances dangerously and carelessly. These are the few examples of behavioral hazards. Dear friends and fellows, let us discuss the specifics of hazards. Mainly these are physical, mechanical, chemical, biological, and psychological. Let us discuss each type one by one. What are the physical hazards? Doors, stairs, platforms, ladders, fire, falling objects, manual handling, noise, vibration, temperature, radiation, lighting, and air quality. These all are the examples of physical hazards. While the mechanical hazards include electricity, machinery, equipment, pressure vessels, dangerous goods, forklifts, cranes, etc. Chemical hazards, chemical substances, liquids, cleaning agents, dust and fumes from processes, acids, poisons, and dangerous substances. These all are the examples of chemical hazards. What are the biological hazards? Bacteria, viruses, pathogens, mold, mildew, insects, vermin, fungi, and animals. These all are the examples of biological hazards. Psychological hazards means workplace stressors, ergonomics, strain, or overexertion, etc. I hope today you are getting some new things in some different way after discussing the specifics of hazards. Now we will try to understand how to manage these hazards. Dear friends and fellows, all aspects of the workplace should be covered by a general risk assessment process that will reveal the significant hazards present and the control measures in place. We will memorize what is a risk. Risk is the likelihood of a substance, person, activity, or process to cause harm, injury, or illness. Remember, the risk can be reduced. Hazards can be controlled by good health and safety management. The question is how to reduce the hazards and how to control the risks. Step number one is identification. Look for the hazard. Number two, assessment and evaluation. Decide who might be harmed, how, and to what extent. Number three, controls. Decide whether the existing precautions are adequate or more should be done. And number four, monitoring and reviewing, periodic checking for continuous improvement. Now we will go in depth how to reduce the hazards. Number one step, identification. How to identify? What are the information sources for hazard identification? The sources of information are employees, unsafe acts, unsafe conditions, operators, investors, stakeholders, suppliers, guides. MSDS are safety data sheets, warnings, safety professionals, legislation, trainings, discussions, complaints, interviews, inspections, accident and incident reports, investigation reports, quality control, process observation, housekeeping observation, finished product, equipment manuals, magazines, reading, feedbacks, surveys, audits, records, common and natural senses, past experiences, and good judgment, etc. Once you are going to utilize these sources, it's much easier for you to identify the hazards. Step number two, assess and evaluate the hazard. Consider its severity, consequences, probability, and exposure. Once identified, determine how harmful the hazards can be, the likelihood to cause harm, under what conditions it can occur, what type of harm can occur, who or how many workers can be harmed, what may be the extent of the harm or injury, is there a history of problem, accidents, or dangerous occurrence from the hazard, what type of monitoring is needed to evaluate the risk. These all are the concerns or the questions that should be considered in step number two. Assess and evaluate the hazards. Consider the severity, probability, or exposure. Dear friends and colleagues, let us discuss hazard elimination and controls. At the source, along the path, the worker. At the source, the strategies of controls are number one, elimination, number two, substitution, number three, redesign, number four, isolation, and number five, automation. Along the path, barriers, absorption, delusion, guards, screens, or exhaust systems. The hazards can be controlled by the workers through automated or remote controls, rotation or rescheduling, or As a last resort, personal protective equipment PPE. After elimination, the second option or the second practicable choice is engineering controls. Engineering controls means designing the workplace and the process, also ensure professional installation of machine and equipment, isolation, lockouts, design, monitoring and warning equipment, process and procedural changes. These all are the examples of engineering controls, means removing the hazard from the worker. Let us discuss what are administrative controls. Removing the worker from the hazard, accident, incident reporting procedures, effective safety policy, develop rules, standards, and safe systems of work, performance measurement, training and education, good communication, use of job safety analysis, housekeeping and maintenance, monitor performance and follow up shortcomings, quality assurance and safety, and lastly, purchasing the required resources or the material. These all are the examples of administrative controls. In the hierarchy of control, the last resort is PPE, personal protective equipment, protecting the worker from the hazard by insulating the worker. Use only when all options are exhausted and the hazard cannot be corrected through substitution or design. But still, selection of personal protective equipment and its usage matters. Where there is no immediate way to control the hazard by more effective means. When employed as a temporary measure, while more effective solutions are being installed. The shortcomings of personal protective equipment are it cannot eliminate or reduce the hazard. If it fails, the worker is exposed to the full destructive effects of the hazard. It may be too cumbersome and can interfere with the worker's ability to perform the task, thus compound the problem. So, the use of PPE is with limitations. Dear friends and fellows, let us discuss the principles of prevention of hazards. Number one, avoidance. Number two, evaluating the residual hazard. Number three, combating the hazards at the source. Number four, adapting the work to the individual. Number five, adapting to the technical progress. Number six, substitution. Number seven, develop a coherent involving all aspects at work. Number eight, collective protection overrides individual protection. And lastly, number nine, appropriate instructions to all the employees. These are the principles of prevention. First step, identification. Second step, assessment and evaluation. Third step, control. And now the fourth step, monitoring and reviewing. Controls must be reviewed periodically. Monitor and review when condition changes. Once there is new machinery, change in process, new hazards, new information, change in legislation, change in workplace, once new employees arrive at the site, are post-accident risk assessment. These are the conditions where you have to monitor and review your periodical controls, your safe work procedures, and the risk assessment. Dear friends and fellows, now we are going to discuss effectiveness of the controls. Either this is elimination, engineering control, substitution, administrative control, or personal protective equipment. If it is not effective, it is useless. Where hazards cannot be eliminated, Control measures must be implemented to reduce it to an acceptable level. Hazards should be controlled by applying contemporary, comprehensive, and proactive management systems than reactive responses. Remember, effectiveness must meet the following standards. Number one, it must be sufficient to prevent the hazard from causing harm. It must protect everyone who can be harmed from the hazard. It must not create new hazards or production and quality control problems. It must not create a hazard to the environment or the community of the workplace situation. We have already discussed there are some chemical and biological hazards. If there are biological and chemical hazards, we must know and understand the routes of entry. Chemical and biological hazards can be transported into the human body by various agents, pathogens, and other forms through the four main routes of entry. Number one, inhalation. Number two, absorption. Number three, ingestion. And number four, injection means direct entry. Let us understand one by one. Number one, what is inhalation? Taken into the body through the lungs. Number two, absorption. Taken into the body through the skin. Number three, ingestion. Taken into the body orally. And number four, injection. Taken into the body through broken skin. Dear friends and fellows, you have to understand the biological and chemical hazards impact on brain and nervous system, circulatory system, liver, kidneys and bladder, bones, skins, gastrointestinal tract, and lungs. But the effects are of two types, acute and chronic. Hazards that cause immediate harm, such as an injury from an accident, are termed acute, while chronic hazards, where the harm is not experienced immediately due to prolonged exposure to the health hazards. Dear friends and fellows, prevention is the first and the safest and also the most effective measure of control for safety, health, and environmental hazards. Safety professionals must become familiar with health and safety issues in the workplace because it's their responsibility to manage the safety and health matters or solicit the services of specialists of specific safety situations for successful safety management. As discussed, prevention is better than cure. It is a four-step system, SAFE, where S for spot the hazard, A for assess the risk, F for fix the problem, and E for evaluate results. I'm rehearsing for you. Step number four, evaluate results. How effective are changes made to fix the problem? Talk to the workers and their response. Are changes making a difference? Workers' opinion on change. Do solutions reduce risk? Do solutions create new hazards or increase risk of existing ones? All these questions might be answered while you are going to evaluate the results. The most important segment or the aspect in a safety management system is to report the risks and incidents. Is someone injured or killed? Someone suffers serious bodily injury? Someone suffers serious illness requiring hospitalization? A dangerous incident occurs which could have resulted in someone being killed or serious injury or illness. How to make a report, or what must be written in a report that is about the incident or a near miss or accident. At least the following information should be there. What? Description of event, injury or damage. When? Time and date of incident. where, the location of the site and address, who, how many persons, what are the names of the witnesses, workplace, and reporting personnel, why, what was the cause of accident or incident, what is the action, and what are the recommendations to prevent reoccurrence in future. To resolve occupational health and safety issues, the only way is consultation process. Both employees and employer work together to resolve issues through HSC department, HSC committees, and safety reports. HSC officers, inspectors, or engineers are the pillars and the main line of concern as they provide an assessment of conditions in the workplace, whether it is acceptable, it is up to the mark, or it is below the standard, and it may lead to an accident or incident. That's why it's the responsibility of the management to take care of these reports. Either these are near misses, incidents, or first aid cases. If they will concentrate, if they will focus on the near misses, they will take actions, they will investigate the near misses, 100% they will be able to find out the basic causes, and they can easily combat all the hazards at the source, and there is no way for any major accident. And that's it. Training session related to workplace hazards and controls is over now. If you have any question, please ask in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and share the video. Hope to see you soon with a new HSC tutorial. Till then, take care, good luck, and Allah Hafiz.